So the thing about this panel is most of these guys are my friends. It's gonna be already like we are hanging out. Yeah. So I'll ask them to introduce themselves, what they do, very briefly.
Hello. How are you doing? How are you doing? Not eaten lunch? You have? So how are you doing, guys? You're well? Okay, so my name is Martha Nyawera. I am a cybersecurity expert with an experience of 4 years, with an expertise of penetration testing and red teaming. I am also a trainer and mentor, and during my free time I enjoy hanging out with friends and family and also traveling. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Sylvia Kirago. I am a cybersecurity researcher, trainer and mentor. I am also a content creator and curriculum developer in the cybersecurity space. And I just launched a podcast in the InfoSec area. It's called Let's Talk Cyber. So expect to see content on there. Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Hilary Saita. I think from the entire panel, I'm the only one who's a parent. I'm a dad. Okay. I started off as a pen tester, an application security pen tester, but right now I'm a DevSecOps engineer working for a certain company there. Yeah, so during my free time, I enjoy bug hunting. I consider that a hobby. I'm trying to learn swimming. Emphasis on I'm really trying. And I think that's it about me.
Okay, thanks for introducing yourself. We'll start from the beginning. I've known you guys for a long time. I've known Hilary since uni. I've known you since cohort. So tell us about your journey in the cybersecurity industry. So like, where did it all begin for you? Where can you go first?
Okay, let me go first. So my journey began when I was in 4th year. I was watching this series, I'm sure most of you have watched it, Person of Interest. And I was really intrigued by the whole idea of anonymity, hiding your identity. And I remember I asked a friend, how can I get into these hacking things? Because I didn't know what it was, cybersecurity. So they told me, you're too late. You should have thought of that when you got into 1st year. And now because you're doing a business-related course, it's done for you. Like you cannot enter into that field. So after 2 weeks, I got a message on my WhatsApp, and I was applying for this gig. At the time, I didn't know it was the National Cybersecurity Training Program. And I applied for the thing, and I got in, and it was amazing. We got to be taught by some of the great minds in the field, and I learned a lot. Then I was absorbed by Ekraal Innovation Hub in a team that was doing purely open source intelligence. I specialize in OSINT and OPSEC. So when I was in the team, I later got the privilege to work with Laura, who showed me the ropes when it comes to creating curriculums and personalizing content to fit what the client desires. And fast forward to now, I am currently researching content for the podcast. And I am also trying to learn and understand matters cyber psychology. It's a new area. Yeah.
To the same question. My journey also started when back in university. When I was going to take back my 4th year project, I met my friend Annie. And she asked me if I knew cybersecurity. So I did not know what cybersecurity was because back in uni, we only had one cybersecurity class in the entire 4 years. So I just told her, yeah, I'll think about it. So she later sent me that NCSTP, in short, National Cybersecurity Program. Then I joined and got accepted. So that's where my cybersecurity journey started. So it was a 6-month crash course cybersecurity program where we got to learn a lot about cybersecurity in all domains. And then after that, I got called, or I got into the penetration testing team in Ekraal Innovation Hub. So that's where I spent my 3 years in that particular field. And then now, fast forward, I'm now in another company, and I've dived into DevSecOps.
Following the same question. Mine also started off in campus, Kenyatta University. I had a friend called Lester Obai. So he used to give me a couple of documents, showed me a couple of documents on his laptop. But this one, he hacked somewhere and got these documents. So I was really curious on what is this hacking thing. And then later on, giving me some Netflix credentials and all that stuff. Why are you getting them? I hacked them. So I was so curious, what are these things? So down the line, that sparked curiosity in me, and I'll probably say I am a student of YouTube and Google. So YouTube University, Google University, and that's where I started off my journey. What was the other thing again?
How has your journey been? So like, what are you doing now?
Yeah. So right now, down the line, I went to a company called Serian where I did my internship. That was really good. And then later on to a company called Cellulant. It was interesting. I went there and I begged these guys for a job. I really begged them because I didn't have any credentials and all. And they looked at my transcripts and they were like, "Are you sure you're going to be able to do anything?" That I had so many days. The manager looked at me and said, "No, this one can't do the job." No, Bright was like, he will. Okay, so let's give him a try. And they ended up absorbing me, and went to Ekraal Innovation Hub where I met these amazing people, and I left there 2 months ago. And so far, I'm a DevSecOps engineer for a South African company, and I would say this experience has been the best experience I'll ever ask for, and it's a really good experience, and I really enjoy doing it every day. Yeah.
You mentioned Lester. I was actually in the same class with Lester. He was such a menace, yeah, that guy. He was such a menace. Anytime you were around him, you had to secure everything you owned. He was such a menace in school. And I'm glad he brought you into this journey. Yeah. So both of you mentioned the NCSTP. So for members of the audience, the NCSTP is an Ekraal-run program that runs for 6 months. It's a very intensive program that brings you up to knowledge regarding everything cybersecurity. It's supported by the government, the academia, and the industry at large. And I think the 3 of us are alumni of Cohort 1, and I think we have a couple of members who went through the NCSTP program. I think Superman is around, Eric as well. So if you're a member or if you went through Cohort, please raise your hand. Please raise your hand. I can see you guys, Kojuma. Yeah, so for anyone who wants to join Cohort or wants to find out more about Cohort, please look up the Ekraal website. I think the organizers will be able to share that with you. So both of you mentioned the NCSTP program. So in what ways did that program, or going through that program, shape your career?
So going into that program, I had a background of computer science before, so I thought it would be easy, right? But I've never studied so much in my entire life like the way I studied in that particular cohort for 6 months. So it was a great cohort, or a great program, because as I said before, I learned several domains in cybersecurity. There was forensics, we were doing Oracle at some point. We did a lot of things in forensics, as I mentioned. So it was a great program. Something that I learned from the program was we had something called Today in the Cyberspace. So Today in the Cyberspace is whereby we come up with news, both internationally, regionally, and locally, about what's happening in the cybersecurity realm. So that was a great opportunity for me, because it made me now start speaking, or like public speaking, and it also helped me dive in a lot into research and development. And then later on, before graduation, we're supposed to have projects, so we got to work a lot in teams. So I really learned a lot from that program. Yeah.
For me, it was baptism with fire because I was coming from a business background. Yes, I had done tech kiasi, but it was like business IT. Obviously, like you don't really get into tech kabisa. So yeah, I went through the program. For me, it was really, I had to go out of my ways to try and keep up and be at par with the rest of the guys. And then I always felt like I'm not a techie, I'm more of a creative. So, but I went through the program, and as she's saying, we had that today in the cyberspace. And for me, it really helped me because I specialize in OSINT, and when you're doing OSINT, you need to be up to date with what is happening in the world. Like you need to be up to date. This is the information that you're going to use to train people. So you need to be able to spot case studies. Yeah, so that really helped me with research, and I have also carried it over to my mentees, the people who I mentor. I make sure that in a session, I want to know what have you learned, what has happened in the world recently. Yeah, so that's how NCSTP shaped my career.
Yeah. So because I've known you guys for a long time and I've spoken to you in many, many occasions, and I sort of know how, for anyone who is new in any industry, especially the InfoSec industry, there's a lot of, everything is new and you're being bombarded by everything at once. So like what sort of struggles did you go through over your past couple of years in the industry?
So one of my struggles that I really struggled with was imposter syndrome. Getting into the cybersecurity world, I felt like I didn't know anything. In that, when now I was working, I've now been absorbed into this penetration testing team, and then so we have several teams inside that particular team. So in that, every time that something works for me or I get a shell, I used to be shocked, just like the next person, like, oh, I've gotten something because of the imposter syndrome that I used to face. The other struggle that I feel I had was, I can call it, I used to have a lot of, we can call them side shows. So you see, for example, the way you're watching a TV, then a fly starts flying, then you start following the fly, not focusing on what you're looking at. So that was me. So entering into this particular field, I was in network penetration testing, so there was also websites, web pen testing, there was also malware development, there's also automation in infra. So I used to see myself jumping from one point to another. For example, if someone has removed a specific tool in a specific field, I used to jump on that and lose focus on what I was doing. So that was something I also struggled with.
Yeah, for me, I felt like I stayed in one domain for too long. So the struggle was not knowing where to move to, because nothing that was around was really exciting me, because we had done, remember NCSTP was like a crash course, so you basically touch on all the domains. So at this point, I didn't know where to move to or when to move, and I also didn't have a mentor. And the reason I didn't have a mentor was because I felt like I don't have a roadmap. I need to get a mentor who aligns with what I want. But till I know what I want, I'm going to chill. So I think that was my mistake. Yeah, and therefore imposter syndrome grew from there, because I would be shocked. Like once I do a training and people come ask me questions, I'm shocked, like, you're asking me a question? Yeah. So I remember there was a conference I did, and when it reached Q&A time, I just ended the meeting, because I was like, they're going to ask me things I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, imposter syndrome, I think, is the biggest struggle that I've had to struggle with. But I think everyone gets imposter syndrome. Yeah.
Mine, I would say, is availability of good guidance or information, basically. So at that time, since of all my friends who were in cybersecurity, I think I was the only person doing application security. Everyone else was doing network security at the moment, and all that stuff, malware development. So for me, I didn't have a good guide, and most of the people I went to online, usually LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, it was Twitter. So all the questions probably end up being just unanswered messages, people blue tweaking you on WhatsApp, you're going to look for information, you're not finding them, of which I admit probably I didn't have the skills to look for information effectively like I would right now. So I'd say I didn't have enough guidance at that moment. Obviously later on, we ended up meeting a couple of other people who were in the same space. So the guidance came later on, but it was such a struggle for me initially. The other one was, okay, now it was a struggle, now your foot is there, but everything you do is not worth it, in your opinion, and hence the imposter syndrome. And I think everyone faces it at some point, like my colleagues have said. I'm never good enough, nothing I do ever matters because someone else has done it somewhere, or someone else has done it better than you. So that has always been a challenge for me, and it's something maybe that I think even most professionals still have it even now, if I'm not wrong. So it's something that you just have to get the confidence doing. And the last one was relates to the first one, which is not having a mentor to look up to. So that was a challenge that time because you now have to create your own guidance and your own roadmap. So you end up having mentors virtually, people you don't know, people that don't know you exist. So you just form a roadmap along the line, along the road, I mean. Yeah, so those are my biggest challenges.
So piggybacking on everything inside imposter syndrome, lacking guidance, lacking mentors and all of that. So now that you know all of this about yourselves and how your career has panned out up until this point, so how do you plan on navigating your future, especially with your career in mind? And what tools do you want to utilize in order to ensure success moving forward?
Okay, so how I have navigated my struggles, I would call them that, is for one, I've been more deliberate on my learning. So I've set aside 2 hours a day where I just do research, and that has really helped my imposter syndrome now, because now I know something that I didn't know yesterday. So every day baby steps is something. The other thing that I've navigated, the other thing is I've had clarity of purpose. So you remember I used to move around and sideshows and whatnot, but now I've created a roadmap that has, I've incorporated my career goals and my personal goals. So that has helped me to see where I want to see myself in 5 years, where I want to see myself in 3 years. So I have created short-term goals and long-term goals to just have that clarity of where I want to be and not jump from one thing to the next. The other thing is also just getting a mentor in whatever I'm doing now, and also a career coach if you can get one. That would really help. Yeah.
Okay, for me, how I navigated and how I'm still navigating the thing. I worked with Laura, and she really helped me to see that intelligence is such a big thing, and yeah, to basically expound on that. And I'm actively looking for a mentor. I already came up with my roadmap, and I noticed that I don't like being put in a box. Like I can't fit in a box. So I decided that the podcast is going to be the tool that I'm going to be sharing what I learned, because I don't like blogging, so I like talking. So I decided that that is the mode of communication that I'm going to use to basically just disseminate the information to both techies and non-techies. Yeah. For
me, my biggest takeaways from the whole thing was just develop tough skin, and if people don't respond to you online on social media, that's your problem, it's not theirs. So try and find another way, or someone else who will respond. Don't take it personally. Being angry at the world will make you an angry person. So that's that. And the other thing is I've really learned how to be a good researcher and Googler. So that's in research to, that's in regards to unavailability maybe of mentors and all. So that made me a good researcher, a better Googler. That means I can find information easily and I can find it more quickly in maybe a matter of time as opposed to maybe going and trying to bother someone and maybe they're not replying. And the other one was I was able to find a mentor who guided me. So the most important thing is having that sense of guidance. And if you can be able to find someone, piggyback on them, just let them know, I'm not good at this and I require you to teach me how to do this. So basically a mentor is a teacher. So I was fortunate enough to have a mentor. He is called Munir. So he's one of the really good web application guys, security guys, probably in my opinion in Kenya. And he's the person I usually go to whenever I want to know anything, any guidance, generally in security. And I think that's a really good thing to have. And that's one of the takeaways I have from that.
Thanks, Larry. So for members in the audience who don't have a mentor or you're looking for mentors, there are really incredible people in the crowd you can network and talk to. There's some incredible professionals, people you might can talk to them, find out whether they're willing to take you up as a mentor. As we conclude, so what advice would you give your campus self? Sorry. What advice would you give your campus self, knowing all that you know?
I would tell myself, or like where I would want to be then, is just chill, relax, it's gonna be fine, and just focus on what makes me happy. Because statistics show that we work a third of our lifetime. So it's good if you do something that you love and you're happy doing, because you will work towards it. In terms of research and development, you'll find yourself waking up at 3 or being bugged by a bug, at 3 a.m., at 2 a.m. and working towards it because you really like it and you love doing it, So just do something that you love and then gain that skill. And also because we need to pay rent, we need to do all these things, money will flow, So the other advice I would give myself is joining clubs in school. In my school we had a data club. That was the very first time I opened my laptop. So I got a guy, I remember he was called Charles, he helped me open my laptop. I was like, guy, is it going to break? It's new, are you sure? And then later he opened a second time, then I got the courage to open it the third time. So join these particular groups in campus, they really help you a lot. And when you're learning, I remember I didn't like programming very much when I was in school, but just try and learn the basics of everything because they're going to catch up. So that's the advice I would give myself. Oh, and just to add on one more is just to have, what are these groups that we help each other? Accountability partners. Have accountability partners because they will help you a lot. When you're short, they'll come through for you.
For me, I'll just tell myself to also relax. The dots are going to do the thing, they're going to connect. And you don't need to be like everyone else. You are different, you're multifaceted. And do your thing, just do the thing. If you want to enter the space as a creative, no one is going to ask you. There is nothing that is cooler than the other one. It might be cool to them, but it's not cool to you. So just do your thing, do your own thing, stick to your own lane, basically. And if you want to also explore the others, explore, it doesn't hurt to move.
Me, what I'll tell my younger self is be curious and continue being curious, because curiosity gets you to places where only passion will also get you. So be curious and be passionate about whatever you're doing. Like Martha said, you spend like a third of your life living and making something out of. Maybe you're doing whatever career you're in, you'll spend like a third of your life doing that. So you need to be doing something that makes you happy. You need to be doing something that you want. So I'll tell myself, be curious and be passionate, and just have that passion and that self-drive, because you'll notice in this industry, it's all about that self-drive, and not so many people will be there to hold your hand, and that's something I didn't know then. So down the line, that's something right now as the audience you need to cultivate. Just be self-driven, be very passionate, and maybe later on you'll find a mentor, and all that curiosity, all that drive, all that passion, you'll put it into this one thing you want in this career of yours, and then the mentor will now guide you. And it's that passion, curiosity, all that, that's the acceleration. And now the mentor is more of the steering wheel that will point you to wherever you want to go. So it's easier. You might have all the speed, all the power, but you don't know where you're going. So that's what I'll tell myself.
Thanks, man. So finally. So I want you guys to be thinking of questions you have for our panelists. If you have any questions regarding navigating your entry-level journey, you can think about them now. So finally, what experience or like what opportunity have you had during the time that has been really impactful that would tell other people to like maybe look out for?
NCSTP was the beginning of my cybersecurity career, so it was really impactful to me. I got to learn a bit of research and development. Then when I got absorbed into the pen testing team in Ekraal, I got to learn a lot about research and development. I also got to work with the very best in the cybersecurity field. I'm still thankful for that. And through Ekraal, I also got the opportunity to become a trainer and mentor, and I see myself, I enjoy doing it right now, so that was really cool. The other thing is, in my career, I also got an opportunity to speak at Africa Hackon Reborn 2021, and also be part of Aspire boot camps. Yes.
For me, it was the NCSTP program. It was the beginning of my career, and I was a trainee. And then when Ekraal absorbed me, Ekraal is also another experience that has shaped my career. I've been able to train over 500 professionals, and I think being a trainee first really helped me, because I know what I've been able to train people who don't know shit. Like they don't know anything. Too, at least they know something. And I know what I went through when I was a trainee. So in retrospect, I think a good trainer has to be a trainee first. And there are some things that my trainers did, and I know that they were not, probably they didn't know they were doing it, and I didn't like them, so I don't like transferring that to my students. Also, another opportunity was mentoring. Mother and I have been able to mentor some students from Nigeria. And that experience really helped us, because we really did think that cultural differences would cause someone to have a different mindset in cybersecurity. Trust me, I also don't understand how cultural differences affected those people, but that was such a enlightening moment. And earlier this year, I got the opportunity to to talk in a conference, the Mozilla Festival Conference of 2022, and I can say that was the beginning of me trying to combat imposter syndrome. So I said that every month or every quarter I'll make sure that I speak somewhere, I train a boot camp, or I attend a conference and talk. Yeah. So another experience was, there was a time I was having a conversation with some parents after church, and we drifted to matters InfoSec, and I was asked to hold sort of like not a meeting, but a meetup, a hangout, to just talk to parents about security. And I really did, okay, I know cybersecurity is for everyone, but it didn't seem to me as something we really needed. But after that I was like, wow, if we are training people cybersecurity, we have to start with parents, then we go to kids, then we go to us. Like everyone needs this thing. Yeah. So those are some of my experiences.
For my side, I don't know where like the biggest experience that actually shifted me came from, but one of the most memorable ones was in Ekraal, because for the projects you're being given, you just being creative around them. So they're not like limiting you to a certain box or a scope where you're in most companies where you're told do this, and then you're given what you need to do. So here you're do it whichever way you're going to use, just do it. Maybe you have a week to do it, nobody's going to follow up on you. So you end up cultivating that habit of researching and failing and researching and failing, knowing what fails and knowing what works. So if you're in the presence of maybe an organization or a platform that gives you that ability to try and fail and just research and research, that's a really good thing. So basically, Ekraal gave me the ability to be able to be a really good researcher, and that's something I think I've carried on from that point onwards. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. So I think we've come to the end of our